great technology, that's been proven by many to be like extremely competitive and extremely efficient. And yeah, for them, I think it's a challenge is, evolving this speculative, trading activity and speculative aspects of, new coins and everything that's going on the blockchain, and turn it into a long-term sustainable businesses, sustainable DAOs, sustainable protocols. And yeah, I hope to see a lot more, unique niches and unique use cases for built specifically for Solana, which haven't happened yet. If
Yeah.
you look at L1 landscape, a lot of projects are very similar. Every chain has their own AMM, just like Uniswap. Every chain has their own, Oracle system and stuff like that. So hopefully Solana will, it already kind of started to happen. They were the first one to have some order book dexes and some other things. But yeah, I mean, it's up to the community and the core foundation team in order to evolve. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree. It's a work in progress. Obviously, I think all of us are. But Solana, it's an ecosystem. It is on the right path, it seems. And I think a lot will obviously, like any other Web3 project, will come down to the community and the users, and the kind of trajectory it takes. Touching upon community and users, I would love to understand. What is the community around your platform, and how have you been able to perhaps engage with users, or are you trying to perhaps stay more B2B facing and not consumer facing as of yet?
Yeah, we have this, interesting go-to-market approach. We are trying to stay as B2B as possible. And it's a strategy, because right now we help different dApps and we bootstrap their systems and their UIs, and facilitate their users without kind of like stealing them or engaging with them directly. And everyone sort of loves us for it. So, we have easy time, in engaging with new projects, onboarding into new ecosystems, and it worked perfectly so far. However, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that in the long run, everyone is kind of trying to, build something new for the users. And we will also spend a lot of time thinking about it. One of the interesting unlocks that we see, that people use centralized platforms and DEXs in a different way. So what I mean is, people go to swap on Uniswap and they know exactly what they're gonna do. Like, I
Right.
wanna buy I wanna buy ETH, or maybe I wanna sell my USDC for USDT, and they perform an action and they leave. They swap and they go and do other things. But when people use Binance or OKX or any other centralized exchange, they're always looking for new opportunities. They go online and they look at winners, losers, trading competitions, new listings, opportunities. And imagine if we've had this information available across all DeFi landscape, like which pools have deeper liquidity. Deeper liquidity meaning that those assets are kind of more stable, and maybe someone would see like, okay, Aave has a deeper liquidity than Compound, and those are similar products building in a similar niche. Maybe I should buy some Aave tokens. Well, this is just an example, not investment
Right.
advice.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, but if we can showcase users in a UI, all those interesting things that are happening, what other users are doing, and what they can do with their money, then I think it kind of open up new possibilities and for deeper engagement. We are not doing anything like this right now, but long term, I think it's highly possible, and eventually, what every system is trying to.
Yeah. I think you're very right here as well in your perspective, that when a user goes on Uniswap, they're very clear about what they need to do, and when they go on a place like
Exactly.
Binance, it's akin to, I'll give an analogy, that like if you go to say Uniswap, you're visiting perhaps a very niche boutique, to buy your stationery,
Yes.
perhaps, right? And if you go to Binance, it's like akin to being in a mall where there are a lot of options, a lot of distractions, and there's a lot of noise. So yeah, but I think those platforms, they also target, I think, very two different segment of users, I believe, which is something I think you will concur with.
True, I agree that Binance has a much larger and different audience, traders, and there are market makers and a lot more different parties. Yeah, definitely, definitely. But hopefully, all of those parties are coming to trade and perform their actions on chain sooner or later, and we will be ready for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, now I wanted to zoom out a little bit more and talk about the ecosystem as a whole. A lot of people are talking about how, we've already entered the next bull run, and you know, there is some conflict, I
Mhm.
think, around that. Some people agree, some people tend to disagree, but that is for another day. I would love to know from you, because you've been working in the space for some time, and you're working in the very honestly, you would know a lot about all of these platforms and trends that keep coming in. What is your take? Like, do you think that we've really entered a bull market, and which are the niches in the Web3 space that you think will do really well in this particular bull run? And this is something that I've been asking almost all of my guests in the last, few episodes, because everybody has a different opinion here, and that really leads to some very tradable insights.
Well, I have my own theory of bull
Hmm.
runs. And, the theory is pretty straightforward that bull runs are heavily linked to emergence of new coins. So if
Right.
you look at, 2013, there were a lot of Bitcoin forks and everyone was trying to build, like new chain with new coin, like for example, Litecoin is a good example, and there were a lot more smaller ones. So every bull run should have somehow huge amount of new coins that are being issued, and activity would spike. This happened with Ethereum, with ICO boom, and in 2020. DeFi summer, unlocked dApps to build governance tokens. Actually, Compound kind of unlocked it because before Compound, no one was looking and knew exactly how to, decentralize, and they was the first one, and they did it brilliantly. So yeah, and we suddenly all dApps managed to issue the governance tokens, and then we had the new L2s and new projects that are running on them issuing coins. So I'm trying to look where this unlock for 1,000 new coins can happen in crypto, and yeah, it does not yet feel like a bull run to me and to our team in particular. We
Hmm.
still feel like the rise of Bitcoin price or Ethereum price is not yet enough, to be called like a bull run specifically. Yeah, but we are looking actively at social, coins, and yeah, maybe users will be able to monetize the blog or their like activity, and do it in or based on smart contracts, and
Hmm.
this can allow access for new things. At the same time, there are a lot of activity on other networks, for example, like Telegram. And imagine if Telegram users, so Telegram applications would have a easier time interacting with DeFi dApps, and we in a way see it with trading bots. A lot of on-chain swap activity is happening through platforms like Banana Bot, and they have a very strong order flow. So yeah, the question we're asking ourselves is, where do we see a lot of activities coming in, how it will increase, and how we can have like hundreds of new coins emerge on a daily basis, and not just meme coins, but long-term oriented projects, or with assets that are decentralized. Maybe real world asset will be this use case that unlocks. Also, I am not as bullish on real world assets because I've been hearing this term since 2017, and so
Yeah,
far
same.
it hasn't like moved much. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see. So yeah, we feel like we are in the very early stages of this potential bull run. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I concur. I think we're very early, in this particular cycle. Regarding RWAs and real world assets, so I'll add a personal anecdote here. We've tried doing that. We've tried
Yes.
tokenizing gold and silver. But there are a lot of like why I concurred with, there is a lot of hype, but I don't know if it's going to go anywhere because there is a lot of challenges in terms of compliance. Like jurisdictional compliance is very difficult. Managing a custodian, an insurer, as well as like a supplier for these assets, and making sure that it's all working in tandem. All of that is very, very challenging in terms of, as I said, compliance, and B, in terms of just the kind of resources that are required to uh, ensure that it is all okay. And startups usually do not have those kind of resources in times of time or money, or even just knowing how to go about doing these things, because it takes a lot of experience to be able to navigate these laws and these policies across jurisdictions. So yeah,
Yeah.
these were the reasons why I also don't think that RWS will really take off in a big way unless institutions really come in, which they are to a certain degree. Like I've heard some noise. I think that is the only scenario in which it can potentially take off in a big way. Because I just don't think startups have that capacity to be able to tokenize real world assets and really make a very sound business out of it.
I agree with your point 100%. Yeah. We'll see how the market evolves, and
Right.
yeah, maybe in few years there will be more activity with when there will be more rules. But
Yeah.
so far, yeah, it hasn't
It's a gray area.
happened.
Yeah, it's a gray area to sort of venture into. And it's hard. It's like being in the trenches without any help. So that is just my personal opinion because I've been there, done that. It was quite a struggle. But anyway, now, moving to another trendy thing that has been going around and making a lot of noise, AI coins. And I would love to know your opinion on AI tokens, and we keep hearing about them. What is your take? Do you think that this is mostly noise, or do you think there is some substance here?
Very tricky question. We definitely need one of my co-founders. They would answer a lot better than myself. I'm not an engineer, and kind of
No, that is
affects
okay.
my
Neither am
perception.
I.
No,
So,
yeah, I
yeah, it
agree.
is
I agree.
okay.
No.
Yeah,
But let's try let's try tackle it anyway.
exactly.
We
Yeah.
genuinely
Yeah.
we genuinely really like AI. A lot of everyone almost in our team is an AI geek, and we follow the news and we look at new products and like experiment. And to be honest, we try to fit in AI into many things that we do. For example, AI can help us predict potentially volatility on the market, and
Yeah.
predict when we will have like a lot more order flow, and when can we do more like coincidence of once transactions between different protocols and stuff like that. But so far it feels like AI and crypto are still quite disconnected, and crypto doesn't exactly like in the current landscape and the way of things just adds much value to AI. Yeah, AI is still all the niches and all platforms where it operates. Decentralization doesn't add like as much improvement, and it's not exactly what users want. But yeah, like it's kind of changing. It's a rapidly changing market niche, and yeah, so this is our answer. We really like it. We are all enthusiasts. We struggle to see how we can use existing AI products and make them part of our stacks, AI and crypto products specifically, not just regular AI, but where it meets with crypto. So yeah, but we are actively looking and hoping that crypto can improve security aspects and other things for AI niche.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way of putting it. I think my take has also been like I usually pick up the example of NFTs. Like initially, I think I was one of the naysayers because I did really just did not understand the point of digital collectibles going for that much money. But we've seen the use cases of NFTs develop and evolve over time, over the years. And the technology has a lot of potential. Sadly, there are no great PMFs currently, but it's a space to watch out for. And I feel it's pretty similar when I think about AI tokens as well, that it's a space that's exciting. A lot is happening, but to be able to really see where it lands, it's going to be a journey, and it's going to take some time. But you cannot really write it off.
Yes.
I'm glad that we kind of touched upon that, and I think especially people like you and me, like I've been in tech for a very long time, so now at this point I can call myself a self-taught techie, but I come from a background of humanities, and people who are perhaps not engineers, I think they bring a different perspective and a breath of fresh air to these discussions because the discussions are more well-rounded, I feel. So, you should, you mentioned now, you should get another, one of your co-founders perhaps answer this in a more technical way.
Definitely.
But our podcast is all about, having these discussions without the jargon. So
Yeah.
it kind of,
Yeah.
what you said completely resonates.
Thank you. And I had I actually, I had another idea while you were talking, and that I feel like AI projects in crypto as well should have kind of success, and not like actually even success, but just stability and good business models without necessarily having to have a token. So when I look at crypto and AI platforms that do not yet have their own asset, launched, I think that what intrigues me more and which have more like long-term potential. Yeah.
I think
So
that
I'm not a
is,
big fan of AI
yeah,
coins.
no, I understand that. Moreover, I think, this is gonna sound very like a bit of a controversial opinion, perhaps, but I do feel that uh, at times, more tokens is not the answer. Like, I really do believe that unless,
Mhm.
your token really has a good utility and you have a sound business model that, it stands on, there's really no need for every platform to have a native token.
Right, definitely. Yeah, well, we'll monitor how AI landscape evolves and
Yeah,
changes, and
yeah,
hopefully more projects will emerge.
yeah. Absolutely. Now, because we are running a little short on time, I would love to ask you for certain recommendations or, of resources or of thought leaders, folks that you admire, that you listen to, that, you would like to recommend to our listeners.
Oh, you mean among podcasts or among just
Anything,
general
just
channels?
anything, just general channels, anything, podcasts, books,
Uh-huh.
or anything that you think is really they're doing a fabulous job, and you want to highlight them here, and our listeners should give it a listen as well.
Okay. Sure. Well, I feel like, A16Z, Crypto Startup School has a lot of
Yeah,
good, materials for
yeah.
new founders that discuss, various aspects like token economics, building and Web3 security issues, and a lot of things. And this is really important. And, it's just the best kind of like publicly available source of information about what it's like being a founder, and you can experience how they teach their own portfolio companies. So this is great. I highly recommend everyone to take a look. Well, among media, I'm a big fan of the Block and Blockworks. I feel like they have a good unbiased opinion about writing, and covering a lot of events that are happening in crypto. And yeah, so this is it really. I feel like I've spent a lot less time, following, channels and news since we, started Barter. And of course, your podcast as well. I mean, your listeners are already familiar, but now it's something that I would recommend everyone to dive deeper.
That's very kind of you to be mentioned in the same line as the block, and A16Z is an absolute honor. Thank you so much for your kind words.
You're welcome.
Uh, so as I mentioned earlier, we're running short on time, and I would want this conversation to last forever because it has been so interesting, and what you're building is very unique, very relevant. But I do have to, ask you this one question that once again I ask almost everybody who comes on the show. You've also made quite a leap from being in deep tech to Web3, working and then building. So what would be your advice to perhaps potential builders or aspiring builders for them to really start living on blockchain?
I strongly recommend everyone to experience what projects looks like from inside
Hmm.
first before, building something of your own. So I
Right.
suggest joining, good teams. And the easiest way to do that is to follow, investment round announcement news. So whenever we see that like a project raise some money, it means that they, have capitals, they are scaling, investors did due diligence on them, and they believe they are legit and nice. And yeah, I think it's really good to have at least 1 or 2 years of this working experience and feeling what tokens feel like, what issuing token looks like, how you build a team, and what kind of security aspects exist in building DeFi dApps. Because when you have a smart contract logic, especially for DeFi, it creates a lot of risks. And yeah, I would suggest everyone that there is a big difference between Web3 and Web2 and building startups in those respective niches. So before starting something, gain this experience, and it would help you a lot.
Yeah, gain the relevant experience and then start building, because there is a stark difference when it comes to building in Web2 as against in Web3. There are a lot of similarities as well. I think the one foundational thing that I keep telling everybody is ultimately you're building a business. So, you should be clear about that. And all businesses are mostly, created, at least for profit businesses are created to make money. So you need to be clear on that. And it just doesn't have to be like a race of raising, more and more money. It's good that, if you want to use that money to scale, but ultimately your business should be making money. And I think that is the only, common ground that I find between Web2 and Web3 companies. So thank you so much once again for making the time to speak to me today. This has been a very, very interesting conversation. Before we wrap this up, any parting thoughts?
No, thanks for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed, discussing intents, and hoping, your users, your community would also love it. If you have any questions, feel free to, send us a message on Twitter or through email. But yeah, appreciate your time, and congrats on all the work. Really excited about this episode.
Thank you so much. Likewise.